Now we shall start with the first type of genetic disorder, that is Mendelian disorders. What are exactly Mendelian disorders? These disorders are determined by the alteration or mutation in a single gene. Thus, the genetic alteration of only a single one can be understood and determined, which helps in understanding the Mendelian disorders. There are various types of Mendelian disorders, as I said previously. Therefore, these disorders are transmitted to the offspring on the same line according to the principle of inheritance, since it is transmitted or carries the information only on single gene. However, there are various types of Mendelian disorders, but here our focus will be mainly on 4 types, that is hemophilia, color blindness, then thalassemia, and 4th, sickle cell anemia. So let us begin our study with the first disorder, that is hemophilia. Hemophilia is actually a hereditary blood disease. That occurs by the delayed blood clotting process. That is, the blood clotting process that occurs late or in a delayed manner results into hemophilia. Hemophilia can also be said as sex-linked recessive character disorder. That is, although it is a sex-linked disorder, but here the gene that takes place in hemophilia is recessive gene. And therefore it is described as a sex-linked recessive disorder. This type of disorder mainly occurs due to the absence of a factor that is present in the blood, anti-hemophilic factor. And this factor is named as globulin. That is, it is this protein named globulin due to which the loss of its anti-hemophilic property results into the such condition of hemophilia. As said earlier that hemophilia is a sex-linked recessive disorder whose genes are located on the X chromosome. And so it is not necessary that it can occur only in female, because male and female both contains X chromosome, but since it is a recessive manner, so the chances of getting hemophilia are comparatively less in offspring. The recessive genes that causes hemophilia are represented by small h. That is, for clear understanding, we are representing these recessive genes as HH, and the dominant gene that is for the normal condition is represented by capital H. Since it is the recessive gene only that is represented or that is responsible for creation of hemophilia in the organism, the chances of this hemophilia to get into offspring is comparatively very less. For brief understanding, let us make a cross between the two. That is the dominant one, which is a normal, and the recessive, that is hemophilic. When made across, the first generation is in the form of heterozygous but represents the dominant condition, and therefore they will act as normal. However, in few conditions, depending on the ancestors, such a normal condition may also sometimes act as carrier, but there are only few exceptions of it. Further, in F2 generation, the result would be HH, that is dominant, heterozygous dominant, again heterozygous dominant, and small h, that is homozygous recessive. So there would be only 1:4 chances, that is 1 out of 4, to get hemophilia. Example, the family pedigree of the Queen Victoria showed a number of hemophilic descendants. Why? Because Queen Victoria was considered, or she was a carrier of the disease. As said earlier, if one, whether normal male or female, is a carrier, then the particular human will not suffer from the disorder, that is, will not suffer from hemophilia, but further its offspring will suffer from the hemophilia. Now we will study about second disorder, that is color blindness. Color blindness is also a disorder, we can say sex-linked disorder, that are located on the X chromosome. That contains recessive genes. Due to this disorder, a person cannot distinguish between two colors, that is red and green. That is, such person cannot distinguish the colors like red and green color. As said earlier, that this disorder occurs due to the recessive genes. So, here the genes for the color blindness are located on X chromosome. So, a normal person can contain genes like CEC, because their color blindness, the gene representing is C. Capital C for normal, and recessive, that is affected by small c. So, here the normal condition can be capital C, then heterozygous nature, that is capital C and small c, or only C. This only C occurs in or is represented in only males. So, such a dominant, whether homozygous or heterozygous condition, represents the normal person. But if a recessive gene occurs, like small c, represented the color blindness person, that is the person who suffers from color blindness. This type of character is normal in males, that is we can say common in man, while rare in women. That is, this type of disorder, color blindness, is common in man, but it occurs in a rare manner in women. This figure represents the inheritance of color blindness. Here a cross is made between a carrier woman and normal man. As said earlier, this is a carrier woman who carries the genes, that is the recessive genes, which can be transferred further to offspring carrying color blindness. But the woman itself would not suffer from color blindness. That is, she would be normal. So such a cross is made between carrier woman and normal male. So the chances of color blindness within the offspring would be only 1:4, where there would be a single normal and woman and man, that is the normal persons would be 2 and one would be color blind man and the woman, that is other, would be carrier. So a cross between carrier woman and normal man will lead to the offspring containing only one color blind man out of the 4. Similarly, let us take another example where a cross is made between a carrier woman and a color blind man. So the cross between the two will lead to the color blindness in offspring exactly in 50:50 ratio. That is, a cross between the two will lead to the offspring containing color blindness in both man and woman, and a single carrier woman would exist and one normal man. So on this basis we can say that if along with carrier woman the male or the man is normal, then the color blindness would be transferred to its offspring only in man. But on the contrary, if a cross is made between carrier woman and color blind man, then the offspring containing both man and woman will suffer from color blindness. So, a carrier woman when crossed with normal man will produce only one color blind man. Obviously along with that carrier and normal man would be produced, but I am talking this only in terms of color blindness. Similarly, in the other situation where a carrier woman when is crossed with color blind man, then the offspring produced will contain both one colored blind man and one color blind woman. So this is all about the color blindness as a Mendelian disorder.